The next part of How to Get Clients as a Freelancer series is all about the types of techniques that you can use in order to get clients when you're becoming a freelancer. Hello, my name is Peter Fisher. I'm a freelance web and mobile applications developer. Here on the howtocodewell.net YouTube channel, there is a Tuesdays tutorial, which is a web development programming tutorial. Also, we do discussions on the Friday, which is based on web development, based on career advice, based on freelance. And right now what we're doing is a freelance series all about how to gain clients when you are becoming a freelancer. And there's going to be extra videos as well throughout the week. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying that I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, because there are different things that suit different people in different circumstances, different environments, and so forth. What I am going to do, though, is talk about what has worked for me and what has worked for other people in the freelance community that I'm involved with. Now, already in this series, we've talked about the reality checks that freelancers have to accept when they are becoming a freelancer, when they are looking for clients. This talk, however, is going to be a little bit more specific in terms of the techniques that you can use when finding a new client. Now, the first technique is word of mouth. Now, you've probably heard this before, but in this day and age where things are on the internet, it's not just physical communication. It's not when someone is talking about your skills to someone else in a physical sense. It's also about someone mentioning your skills and your services on perhaps a Facebook message, or perhaps a LinkedIn comment, or a recommendation on a blog, or even here on YouTube. So it's when someone else recommends you and your services, when someone is asking for perhaps a recommendation in terms of a developer or a coder to do something else. Also, word of mouth really does fall into the category of the long game. Now, obviously, this doesn't happen overnight, and you need to build up your reputation. This also works very well when you are working full-time for a company, when that company has lots of other employees and you work with them. You have colleagues and you get on very well with them, because those colleagues might go off somewhere else and work for another company, and that company might be looking for freelancers and your name might be dropped. So it's very good to have that kind of networking from the off. So working full-time for another company might actually be quite beneficial to you when you become a freelancer. The next technique is spending money on advertising. So this is where you're promoting your business through perhaps an ad or a promotion, maybe on Facebook, maybe on Google Ads, maybe here on YouTube. Now, I try and do this when I'm extremely busy, and that is actually quite a tough thing to do, because when you're really, really busy, you don't have enough time or capacity to think about how to market yourself. But just because you're busy now doesn't mean that you're going to be busy in, say, a month's time, 3 months' time, or whatever. And therefore, you want to ensure that you still have the marketing ramped up when you are busy. So when you are no longer busy, you have inquiries coming in and so forth. Another great time when I do this is when I'm on holiday. So when you're on holiday as a freelancer, you're not actually physically generating any money because you can't work, because you are on holiday. However, one thing that you can do is ensure that you are actually marketing yourself. Just because you're on holiday doesn't mean that your business has to stop. So use that time as a means of marketing yourself. It's very nice to be in a position where when you're on holiday, maybe you're on a hiking trip or you're just laying down on a beach, you see an inquiry come in because of your marketing efforts, the effort that you put in maybe a few weeks prior to your holiday to ensure that you have things scheduled up in perhaps social media, or you've spent money on particular adverts and promotions to make sure that your business just doesn't go stale when you are on holiday. Another technique is to actually go and network with people. So you might be doing this as perhaps a business breakfast. So there are business gatherings that you can join. So you can have breakfast or you can have lunch with other business people, and you can talk about your business and they can talk about their business. And basically it's a place where you can swap business cards, you can talk, and perhaps those kind of things can sometimes generate some clients and some work. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes you just go to these networking meetings and you don't get anything from them straight away. Sometimes, playing the long game, they might have an inquiry later on down the line. They might remember the conversation they had with you, and therefore you end up getting them as a client, or they recommend you to someone else later on. Now, of course, when you do this, you're not actually going to be physically working like when you're on the holiday, so you're not actually going to be generating money. And you have to balance the benefit of actually going and traveling and spending money on these kind of events when you could be actually doing some work. However, if you don't have any work to begin with, then you're not actually going to be losing out. But it's when you have a client or clients, when you are a freelancer, you have to balance out the pros and the cons. Should I actually do this? Is this actually going to benefit the business in doing so? Another technique is to answer questions on Stack Overflow and other websites like that, because what you're doing is you're answering someone else's technical question, but that answer is basically a way that you can promote yourself. And obviously you don't hard sell yourself, but it is there, it's an accepted answer. It shows that you know the solution to that person's problem. And sometimes people will see that and go, yeah, he knows what he's talking about, so perhaps we need to hire him. And clients do see those posts and they might consider you as an extra resource. Obviously, Stack Overflow has its own career section as well. That is a very good thing to use. Another technique is cold calling or cold emailing. Now, this is a technique that I'm not particularly a fan of, but sometimes it works, where you have a list of people to call or to email, and you're basically promoting yourself, your business to them. You're seeing if they need any resource and so forth. Off of the back of that, you can set up some meetings and you can go and see them and see what resources that you can offer and what needs they require. Another technique which is slightly similar to the cold calling, and that is to actually send letters to people with your business card in them, with a letter talking about what it is that you do. Now, you could go a little bit further than just a letter or a business card. You could actually send maybe a pen or maybe a mug that has some branding, some advertising of your business, and you could send that out to perhaps a list of addresses. The next technique is similar to networking amongst businesses, but this time it's networking amongst other like-minded coders, okay? So this is perhaps going to meetups or conferences where you are actually talking to other web developers, other programmers who aren't necessarily freelancers, but you're promoting yourself. So you're saying that you're a freelancer, you've been working on X, Y, and Z, this is what you specialize in, and so forth. Sometimes, if you're lucky, then those developers might go back and say, oh, I've been speaking to such and such, or if their colleagues or their bosses say, do you know any developers that know X, or we are looking for a resource that knows Y, then maybe they will mention your name. And again, that goes back to word of mouth. Now, there are other techniques that you can use to generate clients or potential clients when you are becoming a freelancer. Now, it's not a one size fits all, because some people prefer to use LinkedIn to say Stack Overflow, or say GitHub, or say business breakfast meetings and stuff like that. It all depends on your specialism, and it all depends on your personality, how you want to approach people. I've had many clients before where I've never actually seen them in person, and I will probably never see in my lifetime because they're on the other side of the world. And they've come to me perhaps through my website or perhaps through LinkedIn and other services like Twitter and so forth. But what I do recommend is that you just try things out and see what works and what doesn't work. Now, in the next few videos in this series, I'm going to be talking about certain points that I've made today, but in a little bit more depth. And I'm going to be using examples from the clients that I've actually gained. As always, though, if you've got any comments, questions, or queries, do let me know. Put them down in the comments section below. If this video has helped you out, do show your appreciation, give it a thumbs up, and do subscribe to pick up the next one. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.